Hello everybody, Blue Dooley, and we're back on the HPI Wheelie King. Gonna get these shocks mounted, and I'm super glad as soon as I started filming, the furnace came on. That's always nice. Always happens that way. I need to pull the frame rails off the truck so we can get the shock mounts welded to it. I also need to drill the last few holes to mount the front servo mount. My servos did come in. I'm not 100% sure I have enough linkages to hook everything up, but we'll worry about that in a little bit. Shock mounts, then body mounts, and the rest of the other hardware that needs to be bolted to the chassis. So in this video, we will finish the chassis building portion. Then it'll just need paint, and the body will need painted as well. So let's show you where we're at right now, and then we'll come back. Yeah, super glad the furnace kicked on just as soon as I hit the record button. So, need to pull it all apart. I do have marks where the shock mounts need to go on this piece. So I'll build those on one side and then I'll just mirror them on the other. And then the two holes that need to be drilled for the front servo mount. Again, we're not using these servos. I have some Red Cat servos. So let me get this taken apart and get some shock mounts made. I'll come back after I get the first one made. Well, I kind of decided, why not just use the Wheelie King shock mounts on the front. I haven't drilled any holes on that frame rail yet, but it does hold the shock out away from the frame and has it nice in line with the axle mounts. Plus these are wide enough if I need to. I can put dual shocks on it and not have any problems. So these are actually the stiff shocks. I haven't changed the springs out in the other ones, but I put the stiffest springs in these, so these actually need to go to the back. But now that I've been thinking about it, I almost wonder if maybe I'll mount both steering servos up front, and then I can move the battery way closer to the motor. It'll still be out back, but it won't be hanging out past the back end of the, the center of the battery won't be back behind the axle. There is enough clearance. I could mount the servos next to each other inside the frame, and just one link goes to the back and one link goes to the front. And then because I was thinking maybe this might be too much rear weight bias, make the truck kind of hard to drive. So I'm sure there's enough room for two servos to sit in here side by side. Yeah. So I could just weld in a piece front and rear and then just drill the servo mounting holes in through the top. Mount the servos up front, slide this forward, and bring that weight closer, bring the rear weight forward so it's not quite so rear biased. And that's kind of the fun things about doing it yourself, is you can change the chassis layout whenever you want. So I think I might flip this link around and kind of see how it works on the servo, moving with the servo twisting this way instead of this way. It shouldn't be too bad, but like I said, if I can move some weight around, that might not actually be a bad idea. So let me try that and then we'll come back. Got the truck apart again, and I've actually decided, instead of mounting the battery in between the frame rails, way at the back, because just the way the servos have to sit to get the steering correct. I welded this flat piece here 90 to the frame, so the battery box will actually sit kind of like a saddlebag or a saddle tank. So it'll sit on the outside of the frame. I put it on the left side of the truck because it wants to torque twist to the left. So I figured having the weight out here would kind of counterbalance some of that torque twist, and it also keeps more of the weight in the center of the chassis. So what I need to do now, so yeah, the battery will sit sideways on the chassis, on the outside of the chassis. This battery box will protect it just fine. So I need to make a couple of tabs for the top. It'll have 4 mounts holding it in, and I've actually spaced it out enough so the screws that'll be between the battery box and the frame will actually have enough room, so everything will still pivot real nice. So I need to make a couple of little tabs. I do have enough linkage to do steering front and rear. I don't know if I'm going to have a long enough rod to reach to the front steering or not. I'm not 100% sure. But we'll get the shocks bled, and I'll get the truck all together. And maybe, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll actually get a little test drive of the truck here in the garage. Body mounts, since I'm going to use the HPI shock towers, I can use those body mounts if I want to. I haven't decided yet if that's how I'm going to do it or not, but for shock mounts and things, I think might as well use what I got already. So let me weld these 2 tabs on, get some holes drilled, those 2 holes drilled, and then I'll get it everything bolted together, and hopefully hooked up, and yeah, we'll come back even if I can't test drive it. But I'll get these tabs hooked up real quick. So the truck is together. I don't have any of the wires really tidied up. The speed controller isn't actually stuck down to the servo mount. The receiver is not actually stuck to anything yet. But the truck is completely on its own weight, and I centered the servos. The rear steering is a little off, so I'll have to trim that out. The front's also a little off, but I need to get a longer rod to run from this link here. You might not be able to see to the link that comes back. So the rear linkage is okay. Just need to tighten it up a little bit, and again, set the trim and stuff. But let's fire it up. Already got the radio on. So that's front steer. Rear steer. And we got throttle. So I guess we'll set it on the ground and check it out. Let's get the welder out of the way, so I got some room. I'll also turn on the space heaters off so we can just hear the truck, and hopefully the inside main house furnace won't turn on. It's been a long time since I've had four-wheel steering, so that'll take a little getting used to, but what can we climb? Maybe we can climb some wheel shocks. Front diff hung up. There we go. The front's a little squeaky. I don't know if it's just because the way the linkage is on the truck. Or what the deal is. This might work a little better if I had gotten my electronics stuck down. Sweet. So the rear shocks have the thicker weight oil, or the thickest springs the Yeah Racing shocks come with. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I didn't quite get them bled right, so they're a little stiffer than they should be anyways. I think what I'm going to do is switch all the springs to the middle weight spring pack. And I'm just running a 20 weight oil just to keep them lubricated and so that it doesn't bounce too much. But yeah, that chassis worked out fairly well. I need to, do a few tweaks, get the body mount on it, but I think that battery mounted side saddle, or like a saddlebag like that, I think that's actually going to keep the truck fairly planted, a little more than I thought it would. Now, these RC four-wheel drive mudslingers don't have much traction on this smooth garage floor, so I don't know if it'll pop wheelies or not. But, well, I think I'm going to make a few little tweaks to it and blow it out apart for paint. The front steering is on plastic, and it just flexes so much that I think it needs. I think once it's off-road, it'll. I think medium spring rates all the way around. I think that'll get the suspension dialed in good. I need to do bumpers front and rear. Probably need to add a little bit more support to that rear cross at the very back of the frame rails anyways. But yeah, I think this chassis setup's going to work pretty good. So next time we see it, it's going to be painted and finally together. And once it's all together, painted and stuff like that, I'll kind of go over the last little detail things I do, like probably some more chassis cross bracing. Not 100% sold on using those shock mounts yet, but the shocks themselves, I'm pretty happy with them. So that's going to do it for this video. Let's start the new year off with some more donuts. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.